Hi everyone, I'm Sudha, working as an Associate Professor of Chemistry in Nalla Narasimha Reddy Engineering College. I'm going to explain about crystal field theory. This is another theory of bonding to explain the bonding in transition metal complexes, which are also called as coordination compounds. It was proposed by two scientists, Hans Bethe and Van Vleck. This is also like the bonding in transition metal complexes was not explained clearly by valence bond theory, which is its another drawback. So this crystal field theory explained about the reactivity, bonding, stability, and many other properties like magnetism, oxidation states, spectra of transition metal complexes. So it is a model like crystal field theory is the bonding model between transition metals and the ligands. It describes mainly, or it is mainly based on the breaking of orbital degeneracy in the transition metal complexes due to the presence of ligands. It describes the strength of metal ligand bonds. Based on the strength of the metal ligand bond, the energy of the complex varies, which is responsible for its magnetic properties and color. So as it mainly deals with the coordination compounds, let us see what is meant by a coordination compound and what are the components present in it, and so on. So coordination compound, like this is called as complex ion. The complex ion or coordination compound consists of a central metal atom surrounded by some groups which are called as ligands. So these are some examples of the coordination compounds or complex ions consisting of a central metal atom surrounded by some molecules or some ions, negatively charged ions. So this is about the complex ion. It may be a positively charged or negatively charged, or it may be neutral without any charge. Right? So any complex ion consists of a central metal atom surrounded by some groups. These groups which surrounds the central metal atom are called ligands. So for example, if we see the complex K4FeCN 6 times, which is called as potassium ferrocyanide, these 6 cyanide groups surrounds the central metal iron. So these cyanide groups are called as ligands. So these ligands can also be negative, positive, or neutral. So mainly in the coordination compound, these ligands act as Lewis bases, whereas the central metal atom acts as a Lewis acid. So as you know, the Lewis base is an electron pair donor, whereas Lewis acid is an electron pair acceptor. So that is the definition of an acid and base according to Lewis concept. So according to Lewis, one atom or group should donate the electron pair completely, and the one atom or group should accept the electron pair completely. So here ligands donate the electron pair, that means 2 electrons completely to the central metal atom. So ligands are considered as Lewis bases, whereas central metal atom is considered as a Lewis acid. Now ligands are of different types based on the number of donor atoms present in it. Donor atoms means which donate the electron pair to the central metal. So they are mono or unidentate ligands and poly or multidentate ligands. And the third is ambidentate ligands. So if a ligand has 2 or more donor atoms, and if only one donor atom is attached to the metal, such ligands are called ambidentate. In case of ambidentate ligands, both the donor atoms, like all the donor atoms present or all the atoms present in the ligand can donate electrons. But only one atom will be attached to the metal atom. So these are some examples of the ambidentate ligands, which are nitrito complex, nitrito ligand NO2, So nitrogen and oxygen both can donate the electrons to the metal. See here in this complex, nitrogen is donating the electron pair to the metal, whereas in this oxygen donates the electron pair to the metal. So if a ligand has two or more donor atoms, and if only one donor atom forms a complex with the metal, such ligands are called ambidentate ligands. Coming to the another type, mono or unidentate, if only one donor atom is present in the molecule in the ligand, such ligands are called monodentate ligands, which may be negative or neutral. The Cl- is an example of monodentate ligand. NH3, where nitrogen has one lone pair of electrons, so that donates the electron pair to the ligand, and that is the donor atom. So it is also an example of monodentate. And one more is H2O, where oxygen contains extra lone pair of electrons, which donates to the central metal. So these are mono or unidentate ligands. Like if a ligand has only one donor atom, then such ligands are called monodentate ligands. Poly or multidentate ligands, if a ligand has more than one donor atom or points of attachments, that means if all the donor atoms are attached directly to the central metal, such ligands are called multidentate or polydentate ligands. In case of ambidentate, that means it may contain more than one donor atom, but only one donor atom attaches to the metal. Whereas in case of multidentate ligands, the donor atoms which are present, they all may attach to the central metal or may not. So the ligands containing more than one or more than two points of attachments or donor atoms are called as polydentate ligands or multidentate ligands. They are again classified as bi, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, and so on based on the number of donor atoms. Like we have seen in one of the chapters in engineering chemistry, which is water and its treatment, where we come across the ethylene diamine tetraesteric acid, EDTA. So that EDTA is an example of hexadentate ligand consisting of 6 donor atoms, right? Where 6 donor atoms are 2 nitrogen atoms and 4 oxygen atoms. So that is one example of multidentate ligand or polydentate ligands. So poly or multidentate ligands are those which contain 2 or more points of attachments of donors to the central metal, are called poly or multidentate ligands. Now, next is coordination number. So the number of ligands that surrounds the central, or the number of donor atoms that surrounds the central metal atom, is called as coordination number of that metal. The number of donor atoms that are attached to the central metal atom is called as coordination number of that metal. For example, here CO like AgNH3 twice 2 plus. In this case, the coordination number of silver is 2 because silver is surrounded by 2 ammonia ligands. In this complex, CONH3 6 times plus, cobalt is surrounded by 6 ammonia ligands, so coordination number is equal to 6. In in this complex, like En is nothing but the ethylene diamine. 3 donor atoms are present, but each contain 2, so 6 donor atoms will be attached to the cobalt. So the coordination number is 6. Ligands are 3, but coordination number is equal to 6. So based on this coordination number, the hybridization is different and the shape of the complex varies. So if the coordination number is 2, it is linear. If it is 4, it is tetrahedral. If the coordination number is 5, it may be trigonal, bipyramidal, or square pyramidal. If the coordination number is 6, the shape of the complex is octahedral. And the hybridization also varies. If the coordination number is 2, the metal undergoes sp hybridization. If the coordination number is 4, sp3 or dsp2. If the coordination number is 5, sp3d2 or sp3d or dsp3. And if the coordination number is 6, the hybridization may be sp3d2 or d2sp3 hybridization. That is called as coordination number. Coordination number is the number of donor atoms bonded directly to the central metal, is its coordination number. Now, as metal atoms transition, as the crystal field theory is mainly applicable for transition metals, and these transition metals are also called as d block elements, which are present in the center of the periodic table, where d orbital is being progressively filled. So, as crystal field theory is mainly concerned with the transition metal complexes, which involves d block elements, it is necessary or it is must to understand clearly the shapes of the d orbitals, their orientation, and so on. Right? So d orbitals are five-fold degenerate in a free gaseous metal ion. That means they have 5 orientations as per the azimuthal quantum number. They have 5 orientations, and they are double dumbbell in shape, having 4 lobes. And the 5 d orbitals are represented as dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square, and dz square. So these are the shapes of the 5 d orbitals, like having 4 lobes, right? So from this, it is clear that in some d orbitals, the lobes are oriented in between the axes. These are the coordinate axes x, y, and z. So in some d orbitals, the lobes are oriented in between the axes, whereas in some d orbitals, the lobes are oriented along the axis. Right? So the d orbitals whose lobes are oriented in between the axes are called as T2g orbitals, which are triply degenerate, whereas the d orbitals whose lobes are oriented along the axis are called as Eg orbitals, which are doubly degenerate. Okay, dx square, so lobes of dx square minus y square and dz square point directly along the x, y, and z axis, and they form an Eg set, whereas the lobes of dxy, dyz, and dzx orbitals are pointed in between the axis, and these 3 orbitals form the T2g set. These are the 5 d orbitals which are degenerate in the free metal ion or metal atom. Right? So now when this metal atom is approached with the ligands, the degeneracy of these d orbitals is lost. So that loss in degeneracy of the 5 d orbitals is the main basis of crystal field theory in explaining the stability of the complexes or magnetic properties of the complexes and also the energy. Thank you.